back to my channel. If you guys are new, welcome to the family. My name is Dina. I am so happy to have you guys here. Today we are doing the tag or the trend hashtag only 10 decks. I have to give video recognition to Katey because she's the one that actually started this trend. I am a little bit late to the scene, I'm not gonna lie, but I have never been really good with keeping track of the trends and doing things in the right timing. But we're gonna do it now because I thought it would still be a fun challenge. So basically the challenge is that if you could only keep 10 of your Oracle and Tarot decks, which ones would that be? And that is super duper hard because I love all of my decks, guys. So anyways, we're gonna hop into it. But before I do, don't you guys just love these little tarot earrings? I don't know if you can see, it's really, really tiny. It's a star. I got them for Christmas from my mom. She actually found them at the Bay. Apparently the Bay has tarot jewelry now. Everyone's trying to like jump into that because they know it's trendy, but they're really cute. I've always wanted tarot earrings. So the first deck that I could not ever get rid of, and it has a special place in my heart, is the Magical Mermaids and Dolphins deck by Doreen Virtue. Unfortunately, all of Doreen Virtue's decks are out of print now. I mean, that's one reason to not get rid of this because like I can never get it again. But also, this was the very first deck I ever got, guys. I have so many memories because this was the first time I had the courage to step in the occult section at Indigo, which was actually Chapters back then. It was like their old model. It was a very cozy store. I miss that Chapters, honestly. Like the new Indigo is very modern. It's a beautiful store, beautiful occult section, but it was so much different. It was just so cozy back then. There was carpet, it was a little corner, it was... Anyways, so before getting this deck, I wanted to go into the occult section so bad, like so bad, but I was always so nervous about what other people would think. I was like, are there people watching me? Are they gonna judge me, think bad things about me? Like, who cares? Everyone's in Chapters to like look for like their stuff. No one's paying attention to you, Dina. But like younger me was like really nervous about that because witchcraft and spirituality and New Age has such a stigma around it that I was so scared. So this was the first day that I'm like, I'm gonna get my first deck. You know, this is the one that caught my attention. And the thing I like about this deck is it's just so adorable. It's just a sweet deck. It's very magical and I love the colors. They're just like these beautiful pastels. It's just such a kind deck, I guess is the way to put it. So I can never get rid of this deck, honestly, guys. It has such a special place in my heart. The next deck was actually my very first tarot deck, and it is the Wild Unknown Tarot by Kim Krans. Kim Krans makes some beautiful decks, and I do have my eyes on her other ones. This is not a deck that I recommend for a beginner tarot reader. So when I got this one, like, it was a lot harder for me to read tarot than if I would just have started with a Rider-Waite-Smith deck or something that is like similar to Rider-Waite-Smith, whereas this one is just like very abstract. Obviously cards like the Major Arcana like are pretty straightforward, like that's the Death card. I don't know if my camera's focusing, there we go. But like when it comes to this one, for example, very different than what the Rider-Waite would be. This is another one that's like very abstract, not a lot of story, I guess, is told compared to the Rider-Waite-Smith. It's funny because I have actually watched so many other tarot spirituality YouTubers talk about this deck and how this was their first deck too, and that they don't recommend it being a beginner deck. So it's so funny because I feel like there's just so many of us that are like, ooh, I want the Wild Unknown for my first deck. It just has this pull to it, I guess. Like, it's just such a beautiful, unique deck. I love the art style. It's just gorgeous. This deck is like the opposite of this deck. This one, it will tell you how it is. It is like that harsh friend that like tells you something and you're like, damn girl, like holy cow, and then you're like, oh well, I needed to hear that. This deck, it will like give it to you real. It'll just tell you how it is even if you don't want to hear it, and it's pretty darn accurate. So I love this deck. I love working with this deck. So the next deck we're going to talk about is an Oracle deck, and this one is probably my most used Oracle deck. I'm not even kidding. Like, I have so many and I use them quite a bit, but guys, I pick this one up all the time. It is the Moonology Oracle cards by Yasmin Boland and artwork by Nyx Rowan. Oh my god. It's not just the beauty of the deck, and all these decks are gorgeous, but I have like so many other decks that are like really, really gorgeous and they didn't make the cut. And the reason this one does is because it just gives the best readings. at least in my personal experience. Obviously everyone is going to connect with cards differently, but with this one for me, it always tells me what I need to hear. It's amazing, and it's so freaking accurate. It freaks me out. The cards are just beautiful. They're all based on the moon phases and zodiacs. It's a really nice intro to astrology type deck too. I have to say the first experience I had with this deck that I'm like, okay, this thing's like super duper accurate, was when I first got it. And at that time I was still working at Sephora, and I had gotten tired of Sephora. I kind of wanted to leave the retail cosmetic industry, and I was looking for other job opportunities. So I had been applying to so many different jobs, going to different interviews and stuff. There was like a job fair I went to, and after I would pull some cards, either 1 card or 3 card spread. Every single time I pulled a card for these jobs, I always got this card. So I always got the Void Moon card, and it says nothing will come of this situation. I was like, are you telling me I'm not getting this job? And sure enough, I didn't get the job. I swear, I think it happened like 3 times with 3 different jobs I had applied to that I got this exact card, guys. And I'm talking like shuffling, this card flies out, or like laying them all on their backs, and I happened to pick this exact card. Like, it kept on happening. It was freaking me out. I'm like, okay, I get it. Apparently this job's not right for me. And like, sure enough, I wouldn't get a call back. I would literally nail the interview and be like, oh yeah, it's in the bag. And then I get this Void, of course, Moon card, and then I didn't get the job. I never heard back from them. I'm like, what the heck is happening? But I just have so much trust in this deck. I really do. I love this one so much. So the next deck that I want to talk about is the Light Seers Tarot. And this one definitely drew me in because of the artwork. But once I got it, it's just like, oh, it's so good, guys. It's close enough to the Rider-Waite-Smith symbolism. I almost said symbology. Symbology a word? I think it is. I don't know. Symbolism, anyways. It's close enough to that I feel like you can really like catch on and understand it for the most part. There's some odd cards that maybe are a little bit different, but it's still such an easy deck to read. At least for me, I found like the messages came through super easily. For me, this deck is just like, I don't know, I can't even like, it's just beautiful. Like, look at it. Look at the colors. The images are so gorgeous. The thing that really drew me in were the colors, I have to say, especially that beautiful like bluish turquoisey teal color that's there. I don't know why my square keeps like, it's like focusing in on this one part of my hair. I'm like, focus on the cards, just on the cards. Okay, I'm sorry, I'm crazy today. It's like super early and I'm a little bit nutty. Yeah, anyways, they're just like really beautiful. I connect with the message. I love the like feel of the cards. They're very slippy. So I don't know, some people might like that. They've got a matte texture, but they got like a little bit of shine to them. All right, so the next deck that I have to have in my collection is the Modern Witch Tarot, and you guys know this if you've seen my video on the Modern Witch Tarot. But as soon as I saw this deck, I'm like, I have to have it, because like, look how adorable she is, you know? And seeing like the original Rider-Waite-Smith and like how all the images were of like white people, and I saw this deck and it's so inclusive, I needed it. Which I've learned more about the original Rider-Waite, guys, and Pamela Smith was a Black woman. Like, her family was from Jamaica, but she has quite the interesting and also sad story. Very sad. Maybe I'll make a video on that sometime, but like, anyways, this deck, they're so beautiful. I'm not gonna show you all the cards because I literally have a video where I go through it more. It's just such a gorgeous deck. The colors are vibrant. The pictures, again, like I said, are inclusive of different body types, different skin tones, all of that. The cards themselves are like really good quality. They have like almost like a plasticky finish to them. The only thing I don't love about this deck is the box, because it just like slips out right away. Like, if you pick it up like this, it'll just fall out. If you do not want the like original Rider-Waite-Smith, like if that doesn't do anything for you, then this deck is like the perfect replacement for that, because it just has basically the exact same symbolism and imagery as the Rider-Waite-Smith, but a more modernized version of that. So I love it. And I'm losing my voice because it's morning and I'm talking a lot, so. Okay, so this one, I don't actually know where I put the original box for this one. Like, I definitely kept it, but I have no idea where I put it. So I just have a little sachet. I never know how to say that word. I always say sachet, but I don't know if that's right or not. This is my bright Rider-Waite-Smith. And I got the bright one just because you guys know me, I love color. Like look at around my room's bright pink. I wasn't originally drawn to the original Rider-Waite-Smith deck just because like the images or the colors are very dull, I guess. They're very toned down. I'm finding myself a lot more drawn to it now, and I actually picked up the giant Rider-Waite-Smith, and it's like the original but like giant cards. I'm just extra like that. But anyways, this one is the bright version of the Rider-Waite. As you can see, the colors are just a lot more vibrant than the original. Some of the colors are a little bit different. Like they just have like, for some of them, like the background was more gray before, but now it's more blue. Things like that. The reason why I would not get rid of this is I feel like I just need at least one original Rider-Waite-Smith in my collection. That's where tarot originated from. At least every adaptation of the Rider-Waite-Smith. Pamela Coleman Smith's art started the tarot. Like you have to have some respect for her and the work that she's done. And you know, I still reach for it. Even though I have all these modernized decks that I absolutely love and I really connect with the imagery, I still use this deck because it's just so easy to get the messages I need. It's just so clear. All right, so the next deck is an Oracle deck. We have 2 more Oracles and 2 more tarot actually. So this one, oh, it's so beautiful. The box came damaged when I ordered this one online though, unfortunately. It's like all beat up, which is sad. But this is the Queen of the Moon Oracle by Stacey DeMarco. I actually just recently got another deck from her and it's like beautiful too. But this one, guys, oh my goodness. Okay, so again, this is another deck that I was drawn to because of the images, first of all. But once I got it, I'm like, holy cow, this thing is accurate. This deck just gives me the message that I need to hear. And oh yeah, I'm like, why is this card turned over? It's because I was just like blown away by the fact that I just keep on getting cards. Like I keep pulling cards lately that say the path. And it could be on completely different decks. And I didn't even realize that both these decks had a card called the Path. What is it about my path that I need to know? Because I keep pulling this freaking card. But anyways, the backs of the cards are so pretty. They're so nice. I am super duper losing my voice now, forgive me. But the cards are just like, oh, they're beautiful. I'm not gonna go through all of them. I actually have a video specifically on this deck. So if you want to know more about this one, I'll link everything below for you guys, by the way. I'll also link the original video that Katey did because she's the one that started this tag. So, and it's also just fun watching all these videos. Like I've watched so many myself so far because it's just fun to see like what decks everyone loves. So these final 3 decks, they are really new in my collection, and usually people choose decks that they've been with for a long time, but these ones I connected with almost instantly. So the next one I want to talk about is the Dreamscape Oracle by Matt Hughes, which I also have a full video on if you guys are interested. And this is one of the decks that I'm like was meant to be in my collection. I'm like treating it like a baby. Like this is my baby. I'm so weird. Okay. I first saw this deck at a embodiment circle gathering type thing. She brings like different decks depending on what she's feeling that night, and this deck was there, so I got to have a look at it. I got to pick a card from it, and it was just so cute and beautiful, and the artwork just was, oh my god, guys. The thing that really makes this deck unique is first of all, that's the back. But the thing that makes it unique is the foiled details. Like there's this gold detail on all the cards. And I gotta show you this one card that just, yeah, the shadow. I love the shadow. It's just such a beautiful card. By the way, this is the card that I keep getting. Anyways, I connected instantly with this deck and I'm like, okay, one day I'm gonna get it, but like I don't need to buy it right now because I was trying to be good with my money. And then one night I had a dream about this deck. I literally had a dream of me driving up to Aurelia, going to the store and buying this deck. And I messaged my friend Laura and was like, okay, I had a dream of the deck that we just used the other day. I'm like, I need to get this in my collection. And she's like, that's so funny you say that because my mom and I are driving up to Aurelia today because I wanted to pick up the deck. It's like as if she's like, if there's 2 there, then I'll buy it for you and then you can pay me back. I'm like, yes, please. And there just happened to be exactly 2 decks. So she got one and I got one, and I just like, I literally can't put it down. I use this deck all the time. Anyways, once I got that deck, I'm like, I love this artist. And I found out that they have a tarot deck too. And I'm like, okay, apparently I need that one too. So I got the Ethereal Visions Tarot, and this deck is just, again, one of those beautiful parts of my collection that I could never part with. This one is true enough to the Rider-Waite-Smith that you can really easily read it if you're still learning, I find, because although it has like slightly different angles and like artwork, it's still like the Six of Swords, for example. You still got the boat symbolism and the swords in the boat. Four of Wands, like, you know, it's close enough. It is just such a beautiful, just look at that detail. Like, look how shiny that is. So this is one of those decks, again, that I think just are gorgeous and unique. Like, it's one of those decks you're like, this is something special, and the energy of it. You know a deck is right for you when you mesh with the energy, because it could be the most beautiful deck in the world and you still don't mesh with it. Like, the energies just don't work together. I have one more deck to share with you guys, and this deck has a funny story because I saw it so many times online and I eyed it and I'm like, it looks beautiful, but I don't think I need it. But it always stuck in my head, you know, I always just kept looking at it. And then just recently I was like, I feel like I need this in my collection, and I don't know what it is. And I think some decks for some reason come into your life at a certain time, and you may not feel connected with a deck at a certain point in your life, but then suddenly that changes. But it's just such a gorgeous deck, and not just gorgeous, they were so bang on with the cards. And if you don't know, this deck is based on deities, folklore, and fairy tales from all around the world. This deck is by Yoshitani. I'm sorry if I didn't say that right. Really nice box. It came a little bit damaged, but I mean, sometimes that happens when you're ordering from online. And the book is really nice. I wish the book had a little bit more about the actual fairy tale, but they have a separate book that's a little bit more in depth about the actual folklore and all that stuff. But these cards, like, they're so bang on. There's like a couple of them that I was actually kind of surprised to see. Like, for example, the Five of Coins, which is like poverty, lack of money. The character that they use is the little match girl, and I don't see that a lot. I remember the little match girl was a story in one of my Christmas books as a kid. I remember my mom reading it to my brother and I, and she's like, oh my god, like, when she realized the ending, she's like, she died. And we're like, I think I was like maybe 9 years old, and we just realized the little match girl died in the story, and it was like the saddest story for a children's Christmas book. But anyways, the first time I ran through this deck and just looked at all of them and was like kind of understanding the folklore and the fairy tales that they chose for each card, I'm like, wow, they really thought this through. They really put a lot of thought into it, because all of the cards just make so much sense. Like, for example, the Five of Cups, which is like your despair card, is La Llorona. You know, I don't know if you guys have heard that story of like the woman whose husband cheated on her, so she killed her children, and then she, like, I think she herself, then basically she became this ghost that just like cries in the shadows, and then she lures children in, and then she takes them to the water and drowns them. Such a dark story. There's actually a horror movie about it on Netflix right now, and my mom was La Llorona for Halloween. So anyways, they're really like textured cards too. Like, they feel nice. I don't know about you guys, but like, when something feels nice, I want to work with it more. It has to feel good in the hands. These cards just shuffle really nice, and apparently this card wants to come out. Oh my goodness, the conflict card, what's going on today? But it's just, yeah, it's such a beautiful deck, guys. I am so glad I have this in my collection now. Anyways, guys, those are the top 10 decks that I chose. If I only got to pick 10 decks to keep out of my entire collection, those are the ones that I would choose, at least for now. I don't know if that's gonna change when I get some new decks in and work with them a little bit longer, but I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you guys found it fun, because I find these videos, they're just a lot of fun to watch. If you did enjoy it, make sure you guys give it a thumbs up. I would really appreciate it. And don't forget to hit subscribe before you leave, because you don't want to miss out on more content. I post every single week, and if you love spirituality, witchcraft, self-help, that kind of thing, then I'm your gal, so you don't want to miss out. I love you guys. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it, and I hope you guys have a beautiful day or night whenever you're watching this. Bye bye, guys.